Welcome back. This is episode 14 of Your Relationship Sucks!
You're getting
Exclamation
really good
point.
at counting.
That's
Oh
right.
wait, only one today?
One today, one today. We'll see. We'll see if I get fired up for this one.
Okay.
But
Okay.
this is the show where you get the answers to the tough relationship questions. Give you a step-by-step solution to what you need to do. This is unlike other shows or places where you can get advice. This is not just, hey, stop being mean or whatever. This is very specific. We get into the details. We get into the nitty gritty. I haven't seen any of these questions. Still have no idea what's coming at me. So, but you got something queued up today
I
that
do.
should
Yes,
be
I
pretty
always
good
try and
here.
find something a little bit different than the last. Uh, this one is entitled, Do I Need a Dog Instead of a Husband?
Okay.
Or really, it's Do I Need a Dog Instead or a Husband? So I rephrased it to make more sense. Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna add something new. You don't know about this. We're gonna add something new today. We're gonna read the first sentence. We're gonna read the first sentence of whatever
Okay.
whatever we're seeing. We're gonna read the first sentence, and I'm gonna tell you whose side I'm on.
Okay.
Okay. And you can tell me if you agree or disagree, and then we can get down and we can see what's going on. But we're gonna just read the first sentence. I'll
Okay.
tell you whose side I'm on.
I have been with my partner for 5 years, married for 2.
Absolutely think that she should get a dog. I'm thinking immediately she should get a dog, dump the husband. 100%.
Okay. I have been through the dating mill and was happy as a single woman playing the field in my 20s until I finally found a good man to settle down with. COVID had us both in the house together, and before we worked a lot, so we had a lot of time apart, which was great as I value my alone time. I know it is normal to feel caged and have our partners get on our nerves, but some issues are looming in our relationship. My husband has always had what I consider a drinking problem, which I have talked to him about on multiple occasions, even with a brief stint in relationship counseling for a separate issue that made him quit for a few months. I used to drink moderately until we settled down and bought a house, figuring people party when they're younger but become more responsible as they grow up. Not only am I concerned about why he drinks this much, but I'm also concerned about his absence and slurring of speech on a nightly basis about how pre-COVID he used to shut down the bars, about his drinking and driving, about the amount of money being spent, about the lasting damage this drinking and smoking while drinking, and about the lasting damage. Sorry, the sentence structure is really, I read it and the sentence structure is a little hard to get through. And the lasting damage this drinking and smoking while drinking are causing to his body. I am in my early 30s and he is in his early 40s. Every time I bring up drinking, he brushes it off or gaslights me like it isn't a problem. We both value physical fitness and outdoors, but he has gained some weight and does not show any sign of wanting to work to get back in shape. I have tried to get him to do workouts or ride our bikes to no avail. I have also gained some weight, but I'm getting back into working out at home. I have also come to notice he is quick to anger, has a very short fuse. I would never stay with someone who has a tendency for violence or abuse, but there are signs of him coming out during COVID that are not the best. I would never put my physical safety in jeopardy. We haven't had sex in months and I don't really feel the urge to anymore. He doesn't have any hobbies outside of being a workaholic. The thing is, he bought me a puppy last winter and I fell in love. He is the sweetest little creature and he has me thinking, do I need a husband? The dog provides me companionship, always wants to go outside and explore, and is incredibly easy to talk to. It is hard not to daydream about being just us two. Is a dog all I need to fulfill the companionship void I was longing for when I was dating? I understand that COVID is a weird time and our usual outlets and activities, the occasional date night, going to the movies, etc., are out of the question, but I am starting to wonder if all those things were convenient distractions and this is the essence of my husband. I am really scared. I really don't like it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Number one, I was right. Number two, this guy does not value. I don't know. I don't know where this woman is coming from. I have a problem when we encounter these. First of all, this is probably too serious for me to be answering, right? You know, seek professional help. Number one, like definitely go seek some professional. It sounds like maybe you were, whatever. But as somebody just from the outside, you just want another objective pair of eyes on this sort of thing. Your husband does not value physical fitness. Like, he may have valued that in the past, but he doesn't value it. Like, if you value it, it's part of your life, right? And so that just tells you, right? I mean, like, he obviously
if
doesn't
it's a
value
priority,
it.
it's a priority, or it's
Right.
not, and then it's not one of your like things that you value.
And she doesn't either. Like she doesn't either, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but don't make that part of your decision making process, right? Just don't. That's a bad idea. You don't value it either, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's the reality of the situation. So we've got an age gap here. We've got some sort of age gap, maybe 10 years, something like that ish.
Yeah.
It sounds like they don't have any kids, or at least she didn't mention them, so I hope they don't have any kids.
They do have a dog.
Yeah, they have a dog for sure. It sounds to me like this is a woman who is sort of seeing somebody kind of give up in life, right? And honestly, yeah, I mean, I get COVID sucks, and like you're stuck with people and whatever, and you don't have the outlets and all those things. Honestly, I think that's just pretty much a good indicator of what's going to happen. That just sort of speeds up the process of stuff coming out. I think the stuff is going to come out anyways. I think there are plenty of people who are stuck with their partner who are perfectly happy, and
a lot of people have said that their marriages have gotten better because
right, absolutely, right. So it's
they're spending more time together, and the stressful elements, like there's other stress, but the stressful elements that cause problem, like working all the time, not being able to see or connect, or gone. It sounds like these two are connecting more, and that's becoming the issue.
Yeah. So these are problems that you have. These are problems that you have. Dude, you're going to have them forever. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm guessing you already had these problems anyways, right? I'm guessing some of these things already happened. Now, this is a guy who's talking about, like, I miss going out to the bars and, like, doing these things and, whatever. And that's all fine. But what I'm telling you is you already had these problems, right? These problems already exist.
Yeah.
What I don't – I'm a little concerned about this lady, right? And I'm not, like, totally on her side, I guess. I don't really understand her question. Like, do I just need a dog? I mean, I get it, like, whatever. But
it sounds like she's seeking advice to justify her wanting a divorce,
she
wants to, like, someone to say, like, yeah, a dog is a good companion, because at this point she is worried about being alone. That's what her biggest fear is. It's not necessarily losing her husband. It's being
she
alone.
Obviously doesn't like her husband. I mean, just at the end of the day, like, they don't like each other, and that's fine. Like, and I guess I don't know if he likes her or not. I have no idea, but she obviously doesn't like him. I mean, just reading your words, and you just don't like him. So leave him. You're telling me that your dog is easy to talk to. I got a problem with that. I'm not saying, like, oh, you're crazy because you're talking. I'm saying, like, that's like talking to a wall. Like,
yeah,
the dog doesn't talk back.
It's easy to talk to because no one ever disagrees with you.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, you're just talking. You might as well talk to a stuffed animal. Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just the same thing, right? So to answer her other question, which is, is the relationship or what? Like, is all the dog I need for a companion or whatever? Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. Like, you need to have. You're going to miss. Like, you're going to dump your husband. Which is fine. Like, that's a totally separate thing. Like, whether or not you want to have, like, human companionship in your life is a totally different thing than should you be with your husband. The answer is no. You should be with your husband. You don't like him. Forget his alcoholism or whatever. Like, you obviously just don't like each other. You're just not. I mean, you're not into each other sexually. You're not emotionally. It doesn't appear that you're really into each other.
Yeah.
Like, you're just not into each other. That's fine. Like, people drift apart. Whatever. Like, maybe it was better in the past, or maybe it wasn't that good, and now you're just bringing up things that weren't good in the first place. But either way, you don't like each other. That's fine. So yeah, get divorced from him. Like, yeah, I'll tell you that right now. Like, get divorced from him, because it doesn't sound like you're happy. It doesn't sound really like he's happy, honestly. So.
No.
Whatever. These are probably just issues that you already had anyways. But for you to think, like, oh, I just need a dog or whatever, like, that's insane. That is insane. to think like, I don't need to speak to another human being. Human beings need to talk to other people, right?
Yeah.
Even loners talk to other people, right? That like that's the thing. Like you have human interaction. You hear something back. If what you're telling me is like, oh, I talk to my dog and then I hear my dog talk back, not like I'm crazy, but like I imagine what my dog is saying.
Yeah, like
I mean, fine, but like that's still not the same as like an actual person saying something to you, right? So when you dump your husband, which you're obviously going to do, especially when you're in your early 30s or whatever, when you dump him, yeah, it'll be great with your dog and all that stuff. You're going to feel lonely. Like you're just absolutely going to feel lonely. You will feel like I want somebody in my life. I want another human being in my life. And you know what? Take your dog out to a dog park, meet some people that have some similar interests, whatever. Somebody who's like kind of interested in physical fitness, but not like super into physical fitness or whatever she is, you know, whatever
yeah,
your
like
level
it
of
sounds
physical
like
fitness.
she just wants to be more
fine.
active outdoors or do something like
Great, take the
lightly
dog out,
go for a
meet
walk.
somebody.
Yeah.
But no, absolutely no, that you are going to crave having another human being around, talking to you, sharing your life with you, sharing memories, doing all those things. You're going to feel lonely. Absolutely, you're going to miss your ex-husband 100%, because that happens. Like no matter how bad it was, like you're going to miss him. So go out, take the dog, go meet some people, do whatever it is that you have to do. But you are kidding yourself if you think it's going to be easy, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm saying you're kidding yourself if you think it's going to be easy. Absolutely, it's going to be difficult. Go out, dump the husband because both of you are probably going to be better off, and then take the dog and go to a dog park or go do something. I don't know, wear the mask, do the whole thing, whatever. Talk to some people at 6 feet, like that's fine. But you're gonna want to find other people.
Yeah.
And that's just that you're going to, because you're obviously somebody who wants that sort of affection and that sort of thing, right? So you, more than most people, this woman, more than most people, is going to want to have that sort of thing, right? Or at least that's how I feel. I don't know. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I agree. I have two things that I thought of while you were talking. The first one is that she talks about how her husband is now in his early 40s, which means he was in his late 30s when they first started dating. And so he was still heavily drinking and going out in his late 30s. And she just said that, and she acknowledged this in his thing, that she was working under the assumption that people who party just as they naturally stop as they mature. Her husband was already in his, late 30s. Maybe he wasn't married, but he probably had been providing for himself. People who party heavily in their 20s, a lot of them they stop by like their 30s, even if they don't have a stressful, or even if they aren't, having some corporate job. That is generally the natural flow of things. If you're still doing that in your late 30s, like that's definitely like you do you, but that's who you are. Like that's an important facet of your personality if you're still going out to bars. And for her to make the assumption that because they're going to buy a house and get married that her husband would stop doing this is her own fault. People do that about many different things, not just drinking, not just partying. They're like, oh, once we get married, my wife won't spend as much money on shoes. She's going to keep spending money on shoes unless you sit down and say, like, this is a fundamental problem. If we can't control our money, if we can't stop doing this, if you don't make an effort at least to like let me know, or we carve a shoe budget, like if that's important to you and I'm willing to like say $50 on this, like that doesn't seem to be like the conversation that they had before they got married. Because it's like the spending of going out, some of the other things about going out is bothering her, like the safety issue. She talks about how she found this nice guy, and like that was why she wanted to finally settle down. And maybe he is a nice guy, but like drinking and driving and doing other things, that's like not a courteous person to humanity. So like, I don't know if the reason they got married eventually was because of her need for companionship, as you mentioned. Like, I don't, it is just my personal belief. If you're drinking and driving or doing things that are putting other people's lives in jeopardy, like literally you could kill them, you're probably like just not at that moment in your life, like an inherently good or considerate person. Like that's not like really a nice person to be around, because they don't care about other people. Whether or not you would classify that person as an alcoholic, like in that moment, like you're not caring. And like I'm not perfect. I'm definitely driven after like having too many drinks. Like I was not caring about other people when I was going through the motions. I was caring about myself. So and that had to deal with like immaturity in my life, or, you know, a need for other stuff. So like, yeah, this guy probably has stuff going on, but she knew about it before they got married. There's, you know, there were signs there, and she's expecting him to dramatically change because they bought a house and do other things. Like, that's not a fair expectation for her to put on him. And she's allowed to change her mind if she had that. Like, she went out when she was younger too. Like, so there's that.
No, I agree. He's a piece of shit. I mean, honestly, like people do, you know, like he's a piece of shit. I got busted for that when I was younger. I was a piece of shit. You know, like that happens. Yeah, I agree. He's a piece of shit. Like, just dump him. At the end of the day, dump him, whatever, but don't expect that you're not going to be lonely. Don't expect you're not going to miss him. Like, all that is going to be the case. You're going to miss him. Take the dog, go do something else, whatever. Like, that's fine, but you're going to need to find somebody because you're not going to be able to do this by yourself.
Yeah, and the other thing about the dog, if you are getting a quality conversation about a one-sided conversation, you need to like examine whether or not it's really companionship that you're seeking, or someone to just blindly agree with you. Because having a conversation or having true companionship means like someone's going to tell you when things are not going, like, you know, like maybe, you know, if you're asking for someone or you're really seeking a deep connection, that's a two-way conversation. Like, and you're not, like, as you mentioned, you're not getting that from a dog. So like, is there some part right now that, you know, what the feedback that you're getting from him, like, is she, you know, like, that's another, I mean, that's not listed, but if you really are at the point where you're considering a dog is going to provide the companionship, then you want surface level companionship. You don't want deep connection. And maybe you need to accept that part too, that like, yeah, going to the dog park is probably going to fulfill her like need for companionship, and she's probably going to need a lot of very superficial companionship because she's not really wanting any deep like connection with people.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's blind as to what it's going to be, whatever, you know. No, the answer to your question is, yeah, you're fine with the dog instead of your current husband, but you're not going to be fine with just your dog. That's it. You know, I mean, that's that. At the end of the day, that's it.
Yep.
You know, hopefully she figures these things out. Hopefully she listens to somebody who tells her that, you know, she kind of sounds a little crazy, and, you know, you should back off that before you go start talking to other people. All right, I think that's it. I think we did it. I think we got into it. Gave her some good next steps for what to do. You know, that's fine. Anybody who has some thoughts or has some questions that they want us to answer, you know, they can email us. They can leave a comment. What's the email again?
The email is info.yourrelationshipsucks@gmail.com.
All right, and so, you know, we can get into that. You know, otherwise, yeah, don't be like this lady. Don't get a dog to replace people. It's never going to work. You know, maybe it helps you in the short term. You know, it's fine to have a dog, but, you know, don't think it's going to replace the people, because the reality is it's not going to. You know, otherwise, yeah, we'll get into something else next time.
Mm-hmm.